Hello everyone. So today we are going to make Helix Junk 3D. So for this let's start with our tutorial. So this is tutorial 1. In this tutorial we will see how to create our required 3D models in Blender. After that we'll see how to create a URP project in Unity, which is Universal Render Pipeline. So it is a new template from Unity which was previously called LWRP, that is Lightweight Render Pipeline. So URP is really helpful for rendering good quality games and mobile. We'll see about it later when we start with Unity. After that we'll see how to import the assets which we made in Blender into Unity, and also some of the other assets like images which we downloaded which are in PNG format. After that we'll see how to set up our scene in Unity and some of the basic movements and functions of Unity. Let's start with Blender. So let's open our Blender file. So this is our general template of Blender. So it gives us some of the options. So we'll just select general. Then we don't want all these things. This is light, this is a cube, and this is a camera. So we'll just select, we'll press A and then X to delete all of these. After this we'll press Shift A, which is to add, and we'll select our mesh and then cylinder. So here we get a cylinder. We can also do this by going to add and then mesh and then cylinder. So let's scale it up. For this we'll press S and then Z to scale it in Z axis, and then we'll scale it up all the way. This much is enough for now. So this is going to be our middle shaft. Okay, so now we have scaled our cylinder. Let's just zoom out and see how it looks. Yeah, I think this is fine enough. Okay, so now that we have scaled our cylinder, what I want to do is that this orange dot that you see, this is the origin of our cylinder. So I think it would be better for us if we just shift the origin to the bottom of our cylinder. So for that, first of all, let's make the scale even 20, and then let's press tab to go in edit mode, and then press G and Z to shift it in Z axis. Then just press Ctrl and let's take it up, yeah, till it reaches to a base. Now let's press tab, yeah, and here we can see that our origin is directly at the bottom of our cylinder. Okay, so this looks good. Now what I will do is I'll go here and I'll just make a new material, and this material we'll name shaft, because once we go in Unity we have to edit all of these colors, these materials in Unity, and if we name them correctly then it would be easier to do that. After this we need to make the pads which we see in Helix Jump. So for that what I'll do is I'll take up a Bezier circle. So press Shift A and then curve, then circle. So a circle is there, but right now we can't see it. So let's just scale it up here. Now we can see a circle. Let's just zoom in over there. Yeah, nice. So now what we'll do is we'll make a cube, a mesh cube, and we'll just make it a curve in this. We'll do that with modifiers. So let's go ahead and add a mesh and cube. Okay, so now this cube, we'll go into modifiers and we'll select the modifier curve, and the object will be, let's pick it up from here. So now as you can see it is curved, but because it is only a single surface, that is why it is not looking that good. So if we, instead of this, if we just cut up this cube and then do it, then it would look a better curve. So let's go and remove this modifier for now. go press tab and go to edit mode. And then what we are going to do is that we are going to add loop cuts in our cube. So let's loop cut, Control R in x-axis. Let's paste it there. So now you can see this window. Open it and let's make it somewhere around 50. Yeah. Right now it is looking a lot, but what we are going to do is we are going to scale it in x-axis, then it would look fine. So let's press tab and scale it in x-axis. Yeah. So now if you see it here, it is fine. Now we'll go ahead and add that modifier. So add modifier, deform, then curve. Let's select our object, Bezier circle here. Now you can see that our cube is curved around, and as you can see it is intersecting a little bit. So if you want, you can remove that. You just have to scale the Bezier circle like this, but for our purpose I think it would be okay if it is also intersecting. Yeah, this looks good. So now what we want to do is that we want to make this cube a little bit thinner. So if you see, it is a z axis of the cube which we want to really thinner our cube from. So let's go S and then Z, and let's do it somewhere about this. This looks fine. Yeah. And if we just want to increase our radius, that is, if we want to increase the circumference, we'll just go S, and because we extended in an x-axis, we'll just have to do S. So this would be a nice winning base for our when we complete the game. So this looks okay. I think we can make it a little bit bigger. Control Z. Yes, we want to extend it in y-axis. Okay. Then select a Bezier circle. We also want to, yeah. Then X. Sorry, S and X. Okay, we'll click. Let's call it level 1 because this is going to be a level 1 of our game. Then save blender file. Okay, so now we can see that the shaft is having these edges, so we don't want this. Just right click and shade smooth. Yeah, this looks fine. So I found this image which can give us an idea of how to make our level. So I'll just download it. Then we open our blender and we import that image as a reference image. So then go to Shift A, image, and then reference. Then in our desktop we have the helix jump image. So now this is a reference image. So let's just take it up, zoom in so that we can see it clearly. Then we'll just shift it somewhere when we can see it. Okay, let's send it a bit back. Yeah. So now this is our winning base. So let's also give a material to this and we'll call it win. Then we'll just do Shift D and Z and we'll move it up like this. So Now we have our cube, and this will be one of these pads. So we'll have to have two types of materials for these tabs. For these pads, one will be a default in which a ball can collide, and one will be the different color in which the ball collides and we lose the game. So let's go ahead and let's remove this material and add a new material to this, and we'll call that material normal pad. Okay, and then let's make one more copy of this pad, G and then Z to move it, and let's remove this material from it, add a new material to it, and we'll call that material loose pad. Okay, so now let's go and give it the cuts and shapes that we want. So in this I'll go and then scale it in our x-axis, then remove the scale. So I think we'll keep this as our first pad when we start. So this looks fine. Let's just move it G and then C. 100 I think is a bit much. Let's give it 75. Okay. So now we'll have to increase the length of our shaft too. So S and Z. So because our origin is right at the bottom, so you see that it will extend only upwards. So here we have got our pad. Then let's come to that pad. Yeah. Yes, this looks good. Now let's just replicate this pad all the way to bottom at the distances of 5. So Shift D, Z, bring it down. We want it at 70. Then Shift D, paste it there, bring it down 65. And Shift D, paste it there. We want 60. Shift D to duplicate, paste it there, and now 55. Shift D. Okay, so now we have got our pads at a distance of 5 from each other, and this one is a loose pad. So what we'll do is let's leave it for now, and let's just look at our reference image. Okay, so now that we have all of these set up, so let's go ahead and change the width of each of these. So let's select it is selected, let's press S and then X. Yeah, let's just give random things to each of these, and X. Yes, sorry, remember to just scale it in the x-axis. Yeah, this looks okay. Yes, then X. Okay, so now let's rotate each one of these. But before rotating, what we need to do is we need to apply the modifier in each of these so that this is our default shape. After that we can uh, rotate it. So first of all, let's also uh, let's just apply on all of our normal pads this too, and come to modifiers and apply. So go ahead and apply all of the modifiers in our normal pads. So after applying all of the modifiers, we can rotate every one of these to make it more random. So let's rotate it in the Z axis. This is okay. R and Z. This is fine. R and Z. R and Z. Yeah, so this is done. Now let's take this one, and we don't want to apply the modifier yet. Let's just change this color so that we know which one we are changing. Okay, let's go to material preview mode, and we see that our loose pad is now black in color. So now we want to place this loose pad in each one of these. So let's go ahead and do that. So first of all, we don't need in the first one. We are starting from the second. So let's send it to 70. And this is where giving it according to our numbers is okay, and not just randomly putting in our pads, because then we'll have to calculate a lot. So keep that in mind. Let's scale it a little bit so that there is no Z interference. Yeah. So now what we'll do is we'll make it a bit shorter, S and then X. Yeah, just limit it to one side of a pad. Yeah, this looks okay. Then we'll do Shift T, paste it, bring that 5 down. Okay, let's make 2 of these in this one. So Shift T, fine. So right now we'll just go ahead and apply in this one. First we make it a bit shorter, S and X. Yeah, and then we'll apply it so that we can rotate it, S and Z. Just take it all the way to the edge. Yeah, and keep in mind that some space is left for the ball to come down. Okay, this looks good. And now that we have it applied, we can use this one for our other pads too. So let's go Shift T and then move it downwards somewhere. Oh, sorry. So keep in mind that you always select the Z axis or any of the axes that you're working with, so that all of the axes are not disturbed. So G and then Z. Let's take it down, 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 somewhere over here. Shift T somewhere over, sorry, Shift T and Z, and then somewhere over here. Shift T and Z, somewhere over here. We'll just place them afterwards. For now we are just duplicating them. Okay, so now let's start there by placing them in the correct height. So this one should be 50. So you can see that as it goes down there is some Z interference, but we won't see it in our game because our wall and our camera will be very near to it, so there would not be any interference. So that's one thing. Let's go ahead and do it 40, 25 and 10. Okay, so now these are the two in which we have not yet applied, so let's copy these one also. Oh, let's just copy one more of this. Shift T and Z. Yeah, let's bring it to 65. Z. Here, S and X. So we make this one even shorter, and we'll apply in this one, and then we'll make one more copy. Shift T, Z, somewhere over here, and we'll make it much bigger, even more than half, something like this. Yeah, and we'll apply it this one also. So now we'll apply in all of them because I think that we have our generic sizes with us. So let's go ahead and position this one. This is 45. Okay, yeah. Now all we have to do is copy paste these and just position them in the right places. We'll have to rotate this one also a little bit. Something like this. Yeah. Okay. Okay, it has started to look pretty good. Okay, so now that we have set up our level 1 shafts, so we'll just go ahead and delete the reference image, and we'll just press A to select all, then Control A to apply all transforms, so that these are our default shapes now. So now that we have all of this, let's go to, first of all, let's save a file, then we go to file and then export, then we go to FBX. So now we have this. Let's control some settings, and Z forward is not negative Z forward, it is Z forward, and then we don't have any animation, so no need of any animation. Then we don't need leaf bones also. Okay, so this is pretty much it. We'll just export the FBX to our desktop. Done. So now we can see that our level 1 is over here. We don't need this image anymore. So now let's go ahead and open up Unity. So this is Unity Hub, from which we can control what type of templates we are doing and making. So let's just go ahead and open it. So a little bit about the versions. So any 0.4 version that you get, it will have less bugs. So always try to download a 0.4 version of whichever your Unity you're using. And after that you will see that we have some of our default templates. We'll go ahead and use universal render pipeline. We'll name our project, we'll jump, we'll select the location and then create. So now Unity will take some time to open. So this is a default scene of URP. So you can see that it is a lot different from the Unity 3D, which basically doesn't has anything. So we'll just use this default scene because it already has some post-process volume and all. So first of all, we need to get rid of these folders. So what we'll do is we'll set up a new folder. We'll name it extras, and things like example assets, presets, and then settings, tutorial info, and readme. And we'll work with these folders for materials, scenes, scripts. We'll go ahead and create one more folder. We'll call it models. It is for the models that we are going to export from Blender. Let's open it. Go ahead and import new asset, level1.fbx. While the time it is loading, okay, so there is a small warning that the Bezier circle does not contain normal. It's okay, we don't need that anyway. So we have got everything. Now let's open its inspector, go to materials, and here we'll have to give our own materials. So to give color, and then we'll have to apply. So let's leave that for now. Go ahead, uh, open it up, reflection probes and write probes. Let's get it out, and these things we don't want. And let's create an empty, its position is 0. Just keep in mind that its position is 0. We'll just call it lights for all of our post-processing and light stuff. Select all of these, put it in lights and close it. Okay, so now let's take our level and put it in our scene. We can just drag and drop it. There we have it. Let's put it in 0, 0, and 0. Okay, now you see that it just becomes like foggy. So what is happening is that a fog is on. So let's come here at the settings and let's close fog. And now as you can see, the fog is gone and we can see clearly. Press Q. So let me tell you a little bit about these tools that we have in Unity. So this is hand tool which we are using currently. It is for looking around in a scene. Then we have a move tool, and we can use it to move our object in different axes. And then we have rotate to rotate our object, and this is for scaling up. So like this we can scale our object. Then this is rect transform, it is basically for images. And then we have this which includes all of the scaling tools and rotating tools and all of that. So for now let's press Q, let's come up over here, and yeah, so what happens is that we can select each of these tools from buttons also. So I'm pressing Q for hand tool, W for move tool, E for rotate tool, and R for scaling tool, T for rect transform, and Y for the hybrid tool. So let's select W for now, and we see that this is a prefab. So let's unpack the prefab completely, bring it down. So in the level 1 you can see we have all of our pads. So let's just see. So here you see that a line is coming. So this line is basically a gizmo. uh, which cube is this? Let's see. Okay, so that's just a temp cube. Okay, so that is our topmost cube. So we'll see about that later. Let's go ahead and gizmos and close this yellow line because it is a little bit disturbing. It is a light code group. Let's close this up. Yeah, so let's now bring the cube down. As you can tell from the materials, that is why we named the materials. And then we also don't need Bezier circle. So let's just go ahead and keep this over here. One, and we are going to shift this upwards a little bit so that this is our starting pad, and we are going to rotate it. Press E like this. Okay, so now we have all of our shafts in position. Go ahead and save the scene, and you can find the scene over here. So we'll rename it to level 1. Reload the scene. Okay, so now this is level 1. Now let's also go ahead and bring our camera upwards. Press W. Okay, let's first make all of this 0 and see how it looks. Okay, bring it back, yeah. Let's make all of the rotations 0 as well for now. Yeah, now we are seeing it clearly and it is in the middle like we want it. And let's keep the position same as the first pad, so you can click this button to make it normal view. Press Q to look around in the scene. Okay, then again W, and let's just try to position it right in front of our pad. Okay, okay, so this we'll keep 75. Yeah, and we'll move this to be right in front of our camera, right like that. Okay, position should be 0, 0. This should be 5. Yeah, now it's correct. Okay, no problem. Then let's go ahead and rotate it in a way that it would look better. Yeah, something like this would look good. And we'll move it to 80. Yeah. And let's bring it a bit closer so that only two of our pads are visible, and we'll have to rotate it a little bit more. Yeah, like this. Okay, so this looks a lot better, and then let's save for now. Then in our level 1, okay, everything looks fine over here. We'll start by putting up colors, and before that let's change our background type to solid color, and let's give a color something like this looks good. Yeah, so another thing that I'm thinking to do is uh, not cast the shadows, so go ahead in the mesh renderer and then cast shadows off. Yeah, this looks a bit better. Then let's select all of our pads and also cast shadows off in this. Yeah, so this looks some more like the helixum that we used to play. Now let's go in materials. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create the materials. So create material, and then let's make an orange color for our normal pads, and then black color, black for our black pads, and for our loose pads, that is, and then a material gray for our shaft. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put this, drag and drop it, and so now you can see that there is a kind of a bloom, so I think it is from the pre-process volume, post-process volume. We'll remove that later. For now, let's go ahead with coloring and a gray color. Yeah, this is okay. We'll reduce the smoothness to 0. Yes, little bit more gray I think would look better, something like this. Yeah, so after this let's go ahead and put our orange color in the first pad so that we can see how it would look. Let's go to orange. Yeah, brighter sort of, like this sort of orange, and we'll have to reduce its smoothness also a little bit, like this. Okay, this looks fine. Then we'll go ahead and put the black color in one of the black ones, and let's color it up. Oh, I accidentally put it in the normal one. No problem, let's just put the orange one in that, and the black one. Yeah, let's just see which one this is. Is this a Q2? Yes. So let's go ahead and put the black over here, and we'll have to reduce its smoothness so that it doesn't reflect too much light. Okay, go ahead and save this. Now let's come to our models here. Okay, so we didn't make one for the wind pad. Let's go ahead and do that also. Create material, and this one would be green. Let's just put it in some pad for testing. Green. Yeah, that looks nice. Our orange back. The green, we don't want any roughness, we don't want smoothness, we want it to be rough. Okay, so the scene is pretty much set up now. We'll just have to put our colors in all of the pads. So green is in this one. Then let's exit the mode. Okay, so what you want to do right now is you want to rename all of the pads in a way that it would be easier to know when we start coding. So let's just try and select all of our normal pads first. Yeah, so these are our normal pads, so we'll just call them normal pads. Okay, let's shift this one down, and this, including all of the others, are our loose pads. So let's call them loose pads. Okay, so now what we can do is we can just drag and drop these colors over here like this, and we'll just select all of our normal pads and drag and drop this color over here. So now you can see that we have our desired color. I think we can make it a little bit brighter. Yeah, something like this looks better. Okay, so now you can see that our scene is set up, and just by controlling the shaft's rotation we can play our game. Okay, so now everything is set up, so let's meet up in next video and start scripting. Thank you.